did it all for them.
Hello, everybody. This June 24th meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Burleson Independent School District is now called to order at 5:30 p.m. The meeting was duly posted according to legal requirements and a quorum is present. We welcome all employees and guests to our meeting. And Ashley, do we have any cards? Then we will move on through open forum and go into closed session. So the Board of Trustees of the Burleson Independent School District will adjourn into closed session at 5:30 p.m. for the purpose of consideration of matters for which closed sessions are authorized by Title V, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Sections .071 through .084, whereupon the superintendent, at the request of the President of the Board of Trustees, will present for the Board's consideration or discussion the following matters. A, consider teacher and/or administrator employment or other appropriate personnel matters. B, deliberate a negotiated contract for a prospective gift or donation. C, deliberate the use of security personnel, devices, and/or audits, including the intruder detection audit. D, deliberate a matter regarding a student or student discipline. E, deliberation regarding real property, including A, considering City of Burleson's permanent outdoor warning siren easement, and B, to consider resolution to authorize the sale of property to the Texas Department of Transportation to acquire property rights to parcel 16 for project number R00002292, being 1.265 acres or 55,098 square feet of land situated in the David Anderson survey located between I-35 West to east of County Road 602, and parcel 20 for project number R00002292, being 0.0635 acres or 2,765 square feet of land situated in the David Anderson survey located between Interstate Highway 35 West to east of County Road 602, and finally F, consultation with our attorney. So at this time, we will adjourn into closed session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Trustees of the Burleson Independent School District will reconvene to open session at 6:35 p.m. We have a few items to take care of as a result from closed session. First, I would recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the outdoor warning siren easement on Burleson ISD property at 1044 Southwest Wilshire Boulevard. I could please have a motion. Michael, a second. Dallas, all in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes. Next, I recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution to authorize the sale of property to the Texas Department of Transportation and all terms in the resolution as presented. Pat, and a second. Ryan, all in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes. And then I recommend that the Board of Trustees grant the Board President the authority to approve new hires between now and the next regular meeting in July. The Board will consider ratifying those hires at the next meeting. Pat, Michael, second. All in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes. And now let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Right. I would like for the Board of Trustees to adopt the order of items for the June 24th, 2024 agenda as presented. Sean, a second. Dallas, all in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes. And now it's time to have our special recognition.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we're going to begin special recognitions by bringing up Miss Jana Jackson to talk about our state recognition for junior vase.
Good evening.
to use glasses because that's the preferred way to read at this age. Well, I do have some amazing middle school art students tonight. They have participated in Junior Vase, which is very similar to the high school competition that they will feed into, and the programs in just recent years have melded together so that they are teaching them the way they will compete at the high school level. So they create artwork. Hopefully it's amazing, right? And then they practice interviewing, because who doesn't need good interview skills in life? They get a score for their interview, they get a score for their artwork, those scores are combined, and all of these students scored the highest, or achieved the highest score you get, which is a 4. Those went on to the next round and competed one more time, and these students also received the highest award you could earn at the middle school level, which is a platinum level. So yay them, yay our art program. We have 4 middle schools represented feeding our high school programs, which I'm so thrilled about, that earned platinum awards. So that means my teachers at the middle school level are fantastic. So thank you for hiring them. We have from Hughes Middle School. Can I ask them to go ahead and stand? Yeah, let's go ahead and stand when I call your name. Okay, so we have Bianca Obi and Madison Soria. You can come down. And they have artwork with them. From, right here in the middle. Super awkward for middle school kids. More so than elementary even, yes. From STEAM, I have Macy Cloud, Reagan Johnson, Shaylee Edwards, Jarrett Kainer, and from Kerr Middle School, we have Malia McDonald. Oh, I knew I was going to get that wrong. Brooklyn Biggs. And Lillian Morlock. We also had another student from GDDS, Daria Moore, who is unavailable to be here tonight because people do vacation in the month of June, right? There are family, right? There is family time, that's a thing. And I do want to acknowledge my amazing teachers between Allie and Ella Duran and Misty Gifford, who are at Hughes, STEAM, and Kerr as well with their students tonight. Aren't they fantastic? Is it, what do you want? Go for it. Yeah.
2 rows? Yeah, we should just leave them in the Let's just take one step this way, everybody, and then we'll step to your right.
You know what? Coach, let's go, man. Come on, man. Thank you, congratulations.
Yes. Yes, we want to see.
Do a 180.
And I have to tell you, this is my granddaughter, okay? So, I'm so proud. She knew I was going to do that. I mean, look at those.
Festival that we participated with. The city of Arlington. She's like, okay,
Thank you.
I can do that. What time do we need to be there? Yes. Yes. And I'm going to turn it
And
over
thank
to
you, parents, for
Latoya.
coming.
Yes, no. And for our state recognition, I'm going to turn it over to Terry Stramler and Latoya Banks. The other night, but I didn't get to.
Yeah, you were making it out.
I did do that.
Hey, we got financials coming up.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Latoya Banks. This is Coach Stramler. And we have the privilege to present to you our 2 state qualifiers in track and field, London Tucker and Isaiah Waters. London capped off her phenomenal high school career with a bronze medal finish in the long jump, which she's wearing today, and also a 5th place finish in the 100-meter dash. She's been to state all 4 years. She's leaving Centennial with 4 school records in the 100, 200 long jump, and also the 4x2 relay.
Where's she going to school next year? What was that?
That was my next point. She is
I got ahead of you.
She is continuing her academics and track career at TCU, where she will have an immediate impact on the team's success. Next, we have Isaiah, who just missed medaling by placing 4th in the 110 hurdles. Isaiah is finalizing his high school career with 2 school records in the 110 hurdles and then also the 300 hurdles. He will be continuing his academics and athletic career at the University of St. Thomas in Miami, Florida. We look forward to watching these 2 do big things during the next chapter in life and are so very proud for what they have done. And we're thankful for all they've done for our programs. We will miss them immensely. And we want to thank you all also for recognizing them.
Can we take one step this way?
Really?
There we go. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Not only are they great athletes, but they're great people. I'm proud of them. And thank God for being here tonight.
Awesome.
And I am going to turn it over to Natalie Kirkpatrick.
Thank you. All right, come up.
We are here to recognize 2 Spartans who added significant value to the success of our season. Our pitcher and shortstop, Bailey Lindemuth, and our catcher, Madeline Hickey, both of which are All-State. These girls are any coach's dream to have on their team. They are committed to excellence or high standards, not average ones. As coaches, we preach it's about the little things. Commit to becoming great at the details. Once you do, you give yourself an edge over those who don't. These 2 athletes focus on the little things and commit to being excellent at their craft, and this is shown during this season. These 2 athletes have been a significant part of helping build our successful culture, but we also are incredibly proud of how kind, compassionate, and genuine people they are. Here are a few stats from our fantastic season. Spartan softball had a 30-9 overall record as a team, making it to the regional final for the first time in our program history. Bailey ended her senior year with a .548 batting average with 63 hits, 10 doubles, 5 triples, 17 home runs, 66 runs batted in, 22 walks because nobody wanted to throw to her during playoffs, and 16 stolen bases.
Is that all you got?
She pitched 132 innings in the circle, an ERA of 1.534, and 163 strikeouts, getting us 15 wins. Bailey also broke many records this year, including career RBIs, hits, runs, walks, batting average, and games played. In the circle, she is the career leader in strikeouts, season leader in ERA, and holds the most strikeouts in a single game with 15. Bailey was our 8-5A district MVP, TGCA All-State, and is also nominated for the Texas Sports Writer All-State team, Fort Worth Star-Telegram All-Area team, and the NFCA All-Region team. Next, Madeline, or MK as we call her, ended her junior year with a .425 batting average, .473 on-base percentage, 48 hits, 5 doubles, 5 triples, 7 home runs, 43 RBIs, and behind the plate was highly respected because we rarely had anyone run on us. MK was first team All-District and will play in the TGCA All-Star Game on Wednesday to represent Centennial for 5A, 6A team. She is TGCA All-State and is also nominated for the Texas Sports Writer All-State as well as Fort Worth Star-Telegram All-Area team. We are fortunate to have MK back for one more season, but we want to wish Bailey nothing but success at Texas Tech for next school year. Thank y'all.
Heck of a year. Heck of a year. Let's see, I'm in 5th round, right?
All right.
5th round.
1, 2, 3.
Still stinks a bit. Hey, they were one series away from the state tournament. They were that close. That close. Great season,
So hurt.
ladies.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
How close were they? This close. This close. That's the farthest anyone's been.
Thank you, parents, for coming.
We have this time set aside if board members have any comments they would like to make. Really? Okay, moving on. At this time, we will have our safety, security, and intruder detection audit update with Mr. Steve Logan.
Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight, instead of my normal safety and security update, I'm going to give an end-of-year safety and security recap. I'm going to start off with our school safety officer program. This year, all 10 SSOs returned, and all 10 are returning again next year to protect our elementary campuses. SSOs trained regularly throughout the year individually, as a group, and also with the Burleson Police Department and other local agencies. We added an additional 3 SROs this school year that gave us some additional flexibility for coverage, and also made sure we had at least 1 armed officer at all of our campuses. Well, including the SSOs, we had them at all of our campuses. Yeah. At the beginning of the year, all staff had health and safety training, including first aid, standard response protocol, crisis go, and civilian response to active shooter training. We'll continue our beginning of year safety training when staff returns from the summer this year. Planning and scheduling for this is already underway. Every 3 years, all districts are required to complete a comprehensive safety and security audit and submit the results to the Texas School Safety Center. Our audit was completed, and results were submitted at the beginning of the school year and also reported to the school board in closed session. Texas School Safety Center requires all districts to submit their emergency operations plan for review annually. Our EOP was submitted and reviewed, and we are in compliance with all requirements. I think that's 3 years in a row now we've done that. So, TEA requires an annual behavioral threat assessment data collection and submission. All threat assessment data for this school year was collected for each campus and reviewed and submitted to TEA. TEA continued their random intruder detection audits this year. All 18 of our campuses were audited, and all 18 passed with no findings. All 18 campuses were also compliant with all state and locally mandated safety drills. We partnered with the Critical Response Group to create detailed emergency response maps for all district facilities, and the maps have been distributed to the campuses as well as our first responders. After a recommendation by our lead SSO and after consultation with our Safety and Security Committee, we installed safety bollards at all of our campuses. These safety bollards provide an additional layer of physical security at all of our campuses. We applied for and were awarded over $1 million in safety and security grants. These grant funds covered the materials and installation of intruder-resistant film at all of our campuses. The film was applied to over 1,500 panes of glass throughout the district, The grant funds also cover the costs of our Crisis Go software, and the remaining grant funds will be used for district-wide camera replacements and other safety and security needs. These were just some of the safety and security highlights from this school year. I know the recap was kind of a really high level, but most of these things have already been discussed in detail at prior board meetings, but I'd be happy to answer any questions and provide more detail if needed.
Next questions. Thank you very much.
Sure thing.
Steve, appreciate the recap. You guys have done a great job. And the collaboration and the cooperation and the partnership with campuses, feel really great about our campuses being safe. So thank you for spearheading that. And I also appreciate our campus administrators for what you do on the campuses every day. No findings means you guys have made that a priority. And I thank you all for that. Our kids are safe for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And next we have Dr. Seth Hickman to discuss amending our local policy EIC regarding class rankings.
Yes, good evening. So 4 years ago, y'all gave us the opportunity to adjust our GPA and class ranking policy. We did it for two reasons. One was to get a better apples to apples comparison in GPA so that kids were actually being compared to kids who took similar classes. The second reason was so that we could have kids take the classes they wanted to take without being penalized on their GPA for taking more fine arts, more athletics, all of those kind of things, dual credit classes. We adjusted that as well. So you let us do that 4 years ago, which means for 4 years we've been running 2 GPA systems. Now it's time to let one of those go. It ended with the class of 2024. They've graduated, so we're asking you to just adjust policy to take that off because all those kids are graduated and have left us. And we are ready to be down to just one policy.
Because right now the policy says not including the class of 24, or this does not apply to the class of,
yes,
or whatever.
It's a mess.
It just comes out, so there's no confusion whatsoever. We just take that part out, and that other one that is no longer useful or is no longer actually effective,
applicable at all,
it's gone. So now we just have the one.
It'll be much simpler. So that's what we're asking you to do, to vote on that in July. I wanted to be here to answer any questions you have about that.
No.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And now I would like, so board members, you should have received the consent agenda in your packets. And I'd like a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda as presented. Michael, second? Sean, all in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes. And now it's time to discuss our monthly financial statement with Ms. Brenda.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Emerson. This slim group of fans here tonight, but
Hey, it's just the diehards tonight.
Hey, I'm happy they're
Hey,
here.
it's the non-bandwagon fans tonight.
It's the fierce ones, so thank you for being here.
It's the diehards.
I'm going to start with the monthly financials. So as we do every month, oh, here we go. Are you doing it? Yeah. So when I do this, that means you go. Okay. Okay, starting with general fund, if you'll see our revenues are at $93.9 million. We're about 76% of our revenues that we'll bring in this time of the year. And then our expenditures are at 90.1. Food service, revenues at $6,121,000, a little bit down from last year. And then our expenditures are at $5.8 million. Debt service, revenues at $36.9 million. That's up a little bit from last year. We've discussed this. It's our state revenues that we've got that's been increased. And then our debt expenditure is the $31.2 million, and that's our debt payment that we make in August and February. Special revenue funds, we've expended 56.3%, about $13.7 million. This includes ESSER, Title I, our IDEA, and all those funds that we use that we get our grant money from. Childcare, revenues are up from last year. They're at $722,000 and expenditures at $647,000. Capital projects, which is our oil and gas revenues, we started out at $13.6 million. We're adding through April $800,000. We have expenditures of $6,800, so the balance as of April 30th is $14.47 million. Payments over $10,000, the list is in your packet. It's itemized out. If you'll see, most of them out of 199, and then we also have food service, activity funds, and some of our school funds also. And then our tax report. April collections were at $349,000 for the year, $82.2 million. And that is it for the financials. You have one question?
Oh, with the public hearing? Okay. Next, we will open the public hearing for the 2024-2025 budget and proposed tax rate.
Yes.
Ms. Brenda Myers.
So you have to stretch. This is the good one. This is for the 24-25 budget. Getting started. So we did our required posting. If you recall, we put our posting is for the budget and the tax rate adoption. We do the budget this evening. I'll come back in September and we will adopt the tax rate. So a recap from the last few years. Last year we went down from 144 to 1.2575, which is where we are currently. So we had quite a bit of a reduction last year. It's about 18 cents, the most that we've had in a long time. TEA will give us our tax rate for the 24-25 school year in August. There will be a reduction, I think. They've given us some preliminary numbers. I don't think it'll be anything near as drastic as that. So it'll be a slight reduction, and we'll present that when we come back in September. Oh, one more back, sorry. For the property value, if you'll see, we've gotten a trend that's grown. So last year was 12%, then we went up to 6%. That hold harmless has been in there, the homestead exemption, things of that nature. So as we predict the 24-25, we've been using the May preliminaries, the April preliminaries. We've also done some historical data. We think that there will be maybe a 3 or 4% increase. Once we get the July certified values, we'll have a better idea. There's no longer the property value lag that we used to have, so now it's more up to date, and they use that in the summary of finance for funding. Enrollment. A little bit of a shift. We have decreased enrollment this year. We grew the last 2 years. Our demographer had anticipated that we would grow this year, and we did not. So when we go into the 24-25 school year budget, we are keeping our enrollment the same. We're hoping that we do have some growth because we know the only way for us to generate more revenue is more enrollment in ADA. But we want to be conservative and keep the number the same as it is currently and hope.
So we built this budget. We are proposing a budget that is for next year based on 0 enrollment growth, just to be conservative.
Correct.
Our numbers have been off for a number of years, the projections that we've been getting, and it's not just us, it's statewide, it's in a lot of places. There's a variety of reasons why people suspect that is the case, but regardless, it is what it is. So we're going to base this on a 0 growth, we're going to plan for the worst, and we're going to hope for the best.
Exactly. And so we're prepared for that. Okay, so the Finance Committee of the board met several times. I appreciate the help that we've had and all the input. We came up with a couple considerations of what we wanted to do for next year's budget, and this is what it looks like we're going down to present for this evening. On the teacher matrix, the starting pay will be increased to $59,500. There will be a $1,000 increase for all teachers, nurses, and librarians. It's on the matrix.
And SSOs.
And SSOs, excuse me, anybody that's on our matrix, they're on there also. Proposing a $1,500 one-time payment. We do have some ESSER funds left over. They are to be spent by September 30th of 2024. So a one-time payment on the September paycheck of $1,500. And then for non-teachers, 2% of a midpoint raise. And then also either $750 for non-professionals and $1,500 for professionals, a one-time payment. As we discussed through that, these one-times help us give us a little bit of flexibility as we go into the budget next year. The legislature will meet in January and convene in June, and so we'll see what that holds for us, but this gives us some flexibility and a way to pay our employees. One thing that the board wanted to do also was to add 2 additional local leave days. So if you had 3, which we've had in the past, it'll now go up to 5 days for local leave days. And so I know the board was adamant about doing that, and so that's something that we want to add to the budget this year. And that information will be in our 24-25 compensation manual that will be posted on the
Okay,
website.
so to recap again, teachers, librarians, counselors, school safety officers will get a $1,000 raise.
Yes.
And a $1,500 one-time incentive allotment. Professional employees will get 2% of midpoint and a $1,500 one-time retention incentive. Non-professional employees will get a 2% of midpoint raise and a $750 one-time incentive. And all employees will gain an additional 2 personal days moving forward, going from 3 to 5. So combined with the 5 state days, now all employees will get 5 local days moving forward. So now you have 10 days of leave a year instead of 8. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
And did you mention that this is all in a balanced budget?
I'm about to.
Okay.
I'm gonna get there, so. I know my directions.
I pulled a Stacy, didn't I?
So yes, that's good news. So wrapping up for the 23-24 school year, you'll see our estimated finish is at $128 million. That is an increase. The state revenue has increased because the teacher incentive allotment, if you all recall, it comes in as a revenue and then we immediately expend it out. So that goes out to our teachers. And then also called Dr. Jimerson. I said, believe it or not, the state came in and they did give us a hold harmless. We just got a new template in the last couple of weeks, the month of June. So I'm afraid it might change, but hopefully not.
Bite your tongue.
Yeah, bite my tongue. Because they had the homestead exemption for the elderly and disabled, they had a limit on that from prior years, and they have granted that for them, and they've given us hold harmless as a school district. All school districts, not just Burleson, but all school districts have received a hold harmless, so they've given us some additional funding for that. It's just new calculations that have just come out this last month, so we're still setting our traps, as Dr. Jimerson says, to make sure that it's accurate. But there is an increase in state funding, so we're happy about that. Our finish is at about $127 million, so that's 1.4 that would be added to our fund balance. If you'll look, our fund balance that was last year when we ended June 30th was $33.5 million, just as a reminder. And so once those numbers shake out, we'll see that. I also want to show you the transfer out that's on here. When we do a lease, so like when we do our Dell lease or our copier lease, GASB requires that we do when we acquire those leases, we have to do the full amount of the lease the year that they're acquired. And so we put those into our expenditures and account for them, and then it goes into a debt service account as we pay them out. So we add it to our, we add it to our expenditures, but then we transfer it out for the $2.6 million. So I just wanted to be clear about that in case you had any questions. You can certainly ask me about them. But our total is $127 million.
Those would be called
I thought you were going to call me a nerd, but I'll take the weeds. But I just want to be clear because we have to follow GASB rules, and so that's why we have a transfer out for that. And then moving on to 24-25. So our revenues are at $129.3 million. One of the things that you'll see on here is our federal revenues have increased. We were in litigation with SHARS. And we still are. We have a hearing that is scheduled. We don't have a date, but that will come up. And so we anticipate that we will receive some SHARS funding in the next school year. So we've added that to our federal programs. And then our expenses are listed out by payroll, our contracted services, supplies, capital outlay. And so 129.356 for our revenues and 129.354 for expenditures. We are balanced with $1,920 to spare. So
don't spend it all.
I won't. Yeah, very proud of this. I want to tell you that we have been working on this for months, and so the curriculum department, April, Lindsay Bird, HR, everybody got together, and we've been meeting with principals for months and talking to them, and they understand that what we're in and what we're dealing with the state. And so we looked at all of payroll, all of salaries, all of employees. We didn't want to change any programs. We're going to do everything through attrition. We were able to do that. They also reduced their campus budgets, department budgets. Everybody worked together, completely understanding, because this comes from the top down. We know that our people are important, and being able to pay them and give a raise is absolutely important to the board, Dr. Jimerson, and we completely understand that. And so it's a hard task, but it's one that we're glad to do. Yeah, we've been working on it. And so
we got to take care of our people.
Yeah. And so we're really happy about this budget. Appreciate the board and all the support that they give us for doing it. It's been a pleasure to serve and do it, but it's been hard. And not all of our colleagues have been able to do that. I mean, I've watched board meetings, I've talked to other colleagues, and they're in a deficit budget, and that's the only way they're able to operate. And so I feel kind of bad but I'm over it because we're not, and so we're able to.
Hey, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just be thankful and count your blessings.
Yeah, I am.
But
Very
for the
thankful.
grace of God.
Yeah, I'm very thankful. So if you have any questions on this balanced budget, I'd be glad to hear what you have. I want to continue because we have to do food service also when we adopt the budget. Food service, their estimated finish is 7.2 million, and then their expenditures are at 8 million. They are on a deficit. They'll be in a deficit again next year. If you recall, food service, their fund balance is a little over 3 million, and they're the opposite of us. So we have to have 3 months of operating expenditures in our budget. They cannot. They want them to stay low. So they need to expend some of these funds, and they'll do that. They're going to do some work at Norwood, and then we're still looking at BHS. We've been working on the budget over there, but they want to work on some of the serving lines to be able to serve more kids. And then debt service. Estimated finish is 37.2 million, and then our expenditures are at 31. And then for next year, it looks like we might receive a little more state funding, as I've explained, for the hold harmless. They'll still kind of shake that out, and we'll know this year in September what it looks like for the current year, and then how that might carry over to next year. I'll update you as that comes. I'll do amendments as needed. And then our expense is the 22 million for our debt payment. So this is the budget adoption. So in your packets, I added on there. So we are required to do it by function. So this is why there's all these numbers up here. It's by function listed. You'll see the 129 million and then the excess. And then we also are transferring in 200,000 from our activity funds to get us even to the $1,900 in excess. And then our amended budget, once that's approved, we'll post that online also. So this is general fund. The next slide is food service. Same type of information, the revenues and the expenditures by function. And then our debt service is the last one. And that one also has the same information, the revenues and expenditures, and then the fund balance. So that is all I have for the hearing, unless anybody has any questions. Oh, I did have one more slide. I'm sorry. I just want to kind of recap our timeline. As I explained earlier, so tonight is the board meeting to adopt the budget. Certified values will come out on July 25th from our appraisal districts. On August the 1st, we are to report those to TEA. On the 5th, our TEA will provide us with our maximum compressed rate, and then I will come to you in September to do the tax rate adoption.
And as you see there on 8.5, that is TEA telling us what we must set our tax rate at.
Correct.
They tell us, TEA will tell us what our compressed tax rate must be set at. TEA will tell us that. Mm-hmm. They give that number to us. Yes. We don't set it independently.
We don't.
They tell us.
We also are adopting a budget tonight before certified values come from our appraisal districts. Before we get the actual values to know what the revenues will be.
Yeah. We get to do our best.
We have a great crystal ball. Best in the world? No. That's the beauty of having great relationships with our tax appraisal districts, among other things, is they give us good information. They know what our deadlines are and that our budget is July 1 as opposed to most districts, which would be September 1. So they do a good job, and typically we're pretty close, but you're right. It's not exact, but it's pretty doggone close.
Yeah.
And thank you for making sure you stay on top of that and keeping good relationships with these folks so that we have that data.
Yes, I'm nice to them.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Then we will close the public hearing at 7:12 p.m. And before I ask for a motion to approve this budget, there's just a couple of things I wanted to say.
Okay.
So I've voted on 21 budgets since I've been on the board. And this is by far the one that I'm most proud of. Due to decreased and uncertain funding, districts across the state, as you've discussed, are facing a lot of financial hardships. And yet we were able to give raises and adopt a balanced budget and add some money into our fund. And things like this don't just happen. It's because of you. It's because of Lindsay Bird and April Shirelli and Leanne Arthur and Courtney Peets and Michaela and Steve and Anne Marie and all of the people, all of the principals, the administrators, and I'm not really, but it is everybody. And it is just really, so I appreciate it so much. And so now it is really a pleasure to ask for a motion that the Board of Trustees approve the 2024-25 budgets for the general fund, the debt service fund, the food service fund as presented, and authorize adjustments in the budget when appropriate and consistent with law and policy, and authorize the superintendent to review and adjust compensation and positions accordingly. Ryan, and a second, Dallas, all in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes and we have adopted our budget.
Thank you. Thank you
So
very
thank
much.
you.
I appreciate the kind
Thank
words,
you.
and it is a team effort. Trust me.
And did I
work
say
with
your
the
name,
best
Brenda?
candidate. Did you say my name? Yes?
I meant to.
Okay.
And yours, all of your department, everybody.
Yeah, I got a great department too. Yes, thank you very much for that.
Did I say our principals? I said principals.
Principals.
It's
yes.
really everybody. It
Yes.
involved everybody in the district.
Yes,
I was
it
just
did.
making
Working
sure
together.
because it was a team
Mm-hmm.
effort. And our, you know what? In campuses, y'all did a great job too. Appreciate
They
y'all
certainly did.
helping us
You know,
be able to get through this.
It takes
Thank
a
you.
lot more time to save money than it does to spend money.
Yes. Yes.
So,
It's a lot more fun to let out on
I
the
know.
reins than rein it back in, I promise you.
all right. Let's see. Now we need to consider our year-to-date budget
Yes, ma'am.
amendments.
I have one more.
Now that we've had all this excitement, we'll go back to reality.
Back
This-
to reality.
This is the final budget amendment. It's in your packet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, right here. So this is the one that I do at the end of the year. So we start rearranging and we sure up everything. We are required to keep a positive balance. So we keep a little bit of extra cushion in there. We still have TRS that needs to be posted. We still have Medicare Part D. There's a few things that have not been posted and we won't know until July or August. And so we leave a little bit of fund balance in each of the funds to make functions to make sure that we have enough to make those payments. And so this is our final budget amendment for the year. There's some reclassifications and then there's some additions also.
Okay. Questions?
And I have two more, Stacey.
Oh,
I'm sorry. So then
sorry.
we have food service. This is the same thing. We reduced a little bit on their revenues and added to their expenditures on the function 51 and 71 because they also have to follow GASB rules. And then we took it out of their total expenditures. And then the last one is debt service. Same thing I mentioned earlier, shoring up the state revenues. And then our no change on our payment because those are our bond payments and we know what those are. So I have three that we're approving for the budget amendments.
All right. You. So at this time, if I could please have a motion that the Board of Trustees approve the budget amendments as presented by Brenda. Pat, and second? Michael, all in favor? Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brenda.
And we have one more action item, and that's to consider the TASB update 122.
Well, the good news, Mike, as riveting as the TASB updates are, they were presented at the last meeting at the first reading in great detail, as you may recall. So tonight, I won't try to duplicate or replicate Mr. Dyer's presentation. So we just recommend that we adopt update 122 as presented last month in its entirety.
All right, if I could please have a motion. Sean, Dallas, second, all in favor. Any opposed? I see none opposed. The motion passes. No, he isn't. So at this time, 7:17 p.m., we are adjourned. Thank you all so much for coming.